What up, Doe? What up? What up? What's going on, folks? Top of the evening, it's the pastor. Pastor come tonight with, the hard part of this job, which is, once again, talking about the other side of truth-telling. Sometimes it's pleasant to tell the truth, and other times it's quite difficult to tell the truth because people put you in certain situations and circumstances where, unfortunately, telling the truth is uncomfortable. And this is one of those nights, okay? I'm going to start a little music from, 1986, from the Timex Social Club. I think there was once formerly Club Nouveau, but it's a little song entitled Rumors. And I'm going to get some people tagged up. Hopefully we can get somebody on to listen to tonight's message as I talk about the dirty politics that's going on, especially right now in the Senate District 42 Democratic primary, the actual election, which is tomorrow. So while Timex Social Club talks about these rumors, how the rumors get started by the jealous people. Julius, what's going on? What's going on? Would you all please share this out while I get some folks tagged up, okay? Yes. Timex Social Club, I think formerly Club Nouveau, 1986. Man, I remember that year. I was stationed up in, where was I? Up in Virginia when that came out. Y'all please share this out, and thank you for tuning in tonight. There's just some mess, man. These darn politics, man, I hate it. And I know hate is a very strong word, and it's not a word that I use regularly. But when it comes to politics and the negative impact that politics has on the people out here who just want to be represented by the folks who they vote for, it's sickening. It's sickening. So I decided tonight to come on and to clear up some things that need to be cleared up, especially in this Senate District 42 race where the incumbent, State Senator Deon Tedder, he's the Democrat who is running in this primary election against a political newcomer named Kim Green, the winner of which tomorrow will be the person that goes on to the general election in November 5th. But I do believe that this seat is unopposed. So whoever wins the election, unopposed by a Republican, now might be a Libertarian or something else in this race right now, but I'm unsure. But the winner of the race tomorrow is fairly certain to go on and to be our next senator for South Carolina District 42 for the next 4 years, okay? Deon Tedder won this seat in a special election last year. He's only been in office for 6 months. Last night I talked about the work that he's done, the body of work. I'm going to recap that tonight before I get to them. Dem Boiz R Durty. They dirty. And they ain't got to be. It don't make no sense to me. The people deserve honesty. They deserve those who are going to actually represent them, in our legislature. It's just that simple. So I'm still trying to get some folks tagged up here. Would you all please share this out? We're going to kick this thing off shortly because I want to make sure that I get everything that I need to talk about in tonight. And one of the problems a lot of these will have, those who I'm talking about tonight, that they're going to have is the fact that I've just been around long enough. I've seen the dirt, you know, and y'all know I'm not stooping down to anybody's level. I'm not dropping my moral compass down for anybody. I'm not compromising that for anyone. And that over the years has given me the ability to not only see through the facade that many of our politicians put forward, but to also be able to address these politics instead of just turning a blind eye or a deaf ear to them. I can't do it. And again, I'm in a unique position now, having been through this system and been a part of that system and have seen a whole bunch in my short time in politics. I know where the skeletons are. Let me just put it that way. And I only speak from what I know. Julius, again, thank you for tuning in. Lisa, good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, wow. We've got a civil rights icon in the house. Minerva King, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in tonight, especially as I talk about something that has hampered us and hindered us in our movement forward as a people. When we have people who are in office or who want to be elected to office, but really they have selfish motivations that are driving them and not the people. Anytime we compromise the people, you better believe that, Pastor Dixon, you're going to hear from me somewhere along the way, somewhere, as they say. Cheryl, how you doing? Good to see you. Danielle, thank you for tuning in. Yes, Cheryl, I know where the bodies are buried. That's for sure. So I'm not going to delay any more. That was the Timex Social Club, formerly Club Nouveau, singing the song called Rumors from 1986. And it was like, what? Why? Why do we have these rumors all around us? It doesn't make any sense. And again, let me just state, though, that what I'm going to talk about tonight is, first off, I'm going to talk about Senator Tedder's accomplishments in 6 months since he's been in office, which I talked about last night, but I want to recap it tonight. And then I'm going to get into these dirty politics that are out here right now, a lot of which plays on the minds of people because people don't understand what's real and what's not real. People will make assumptions, especially based on the mouth that it's coming out, and they will take fiction as fact. They will take a lie and believe it's the truth simply because of the source. So why did these rumors get started? Started by the jealous people. Senator Tedder, all day, needs to win this election tomorrow. So let me kick this on off, all right? And I want to recap what I talked about, Senator Tedder's accomplishments that I talked about last night, okay? 34-year-old Senator Deon Tedder, born in Durham, North Carolina, a graduate of South Carolina State and the University of South Carolina Law School. So he's an HBCU grad, and he went to law school at, he's a South Carolina State grad, and he went to law school at University of South Carolina. Senator Tedder, he's married. I think he's just had his first, I believe it is, anniversary. Might have been yesterday or something like that. I could be wrong on that. Might have been a second, okay? He lives in North Charleston, and Senator Tedder is also an attorney. Senator Tedder, he spent much of his life in public service. In college, working in the office of the late Senator Ted Kennedy, where he assisted on the Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee. In law school, as a guardian ad litem for Richland County's court-appointed Special Advocates Program. Representing indigent clients in magistrate's court through USC's Criminal Law Practice Clinic, and also as a judicial law clerk. Deon is a member of the ABA, the SCBA, the CCBA, the SC Association for Justice, the SC Black Lawyers Association, and he's a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. That's Deon right there. Now, the ABA is the American Bar Association, the South Carolina Bar Association, the Charleston County Bar Association, the South Carolina Association for Justice, the South Carolina Black Lawyers Association, and Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Now, as a 30-year-old, I said he's 34 years old right now. As a 30-year-old in 2020, Deon Tedder was first elected to the South Carolina State House of Representatives to fill a seat that was vacated with the retirement of the late great South Carolina State Representative David Mack III. Brother Hilton, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on, okay? During his freshman term, that means his first 2 years in office, okay? He was elected in 2020. During his first 2 years of an office, he succeeded in actually getting a bill passed supporting HBCUs. Now, first off, as a freshman in our General Assembly, most who are there, they will tell you, it takes 2 terms at least to really get a feel for what's going on around in the General Assembly. But for a freshman to actually get a bill passed, that's not usual. That's not the normal. And here, Senator Tedder, in his first 2 years, in his freshman years, as a House representative in the South Carolina General Assembly, he got a bill passed supporting historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs. Okay, as a freshman member in the South Carolina House, he passed what's called the HBCU bill, H 4576, that designated the third Tuesday in February as HBCU Day in South Carolina. This bill was signed into law by Governor McMaster on February 15, 2022, giving a voice to the students of South Carolina's HBCUs that were previously unheard. Okay, now, although his opponents and others like to say, well, he just got a special day assigned. Aside from setting aside a day respecting our HBCUs, H 4576, it created opportunities for our HBCU students who are predominantly black to have access to their legislators by creating guaranteed internships with their legislators and caucuses at the State House. Those students, our HBCU students, now get to come to the Capitol and have real discussions with legislators about issues they are facing. Why? Because freshman South Carolina State Representative Deon Tedder opened up the door for them to have that access and to get that experience working directly with our state legislators. And many of those HBCU students are aspiring to go into politics. And so opening up this door has given them a fast track to the inside operation of how politics works in South Carolina, or how it doesn't work in South Carolina. But it gets them in the door because of this bill that freshman State Representative Deon Tedder got actually passed as a freshman. And additionally, these HBCU students who come to the State House, they get to interact directly with lobbyists that are there. Lobbyists who work for major companies, okay, creating more internship opportunities and also the potential for job opportunities after they graduate. They will meet people in major corporations who they might be able to talk with and move into positions with these corporations after they graduate. This is opportunity that was created through this bill. Now, while Deon's opponents, and sometimes I'm going to call him senator, I'll call him representative during those years, or sometimes I just might say Deon, because he's just that kind of guy. Alan Ali, what's going on? Good to see you. Nina, thank you for checking in. Keela, is it, I believe? Thank you for checking in. Dina, thank you also. All righty. Now, Deon's opponents, they say H 4576 only sets aside a day to honor HBCUs. But it's easy for those who actually read the bill, okay, not just speculate on it, to understand that this bill accomplishes a whole lot more than that. What I just went through, a whole lot more than just setting aside a day. Also, aside from getting that bill passed, during his time in the South Carolina General Assembly in the House of Representatives, okay, During his brief time in the House of Representatives before being elected to the South Carolina Senate last year, Dion filed legislation to provide for same-day voter registration. Now, that's something that will impact black people, especially while we have Republicans who are trying to restrict our voting access. Dion's in there pushing to expand voting access. Ralph, what's going on? Good to see you, brother. Dion filed legislation to provide for same-day voter registration, as well as legislation to empower towns and municipalities to create more affordable housing. Who will that affordable housing more or less impact? Our black and brown and poor communities, right? And he stood by himself, just a matter of character. He stood by himself in opposition to a bail reform bill because he believed it would create a violation of due process for predominantly African Americans. Nobody else stood with him, but he believed through his analysis and research of the bill that was being passed that bill was going to create a problem for African Americans seeking bail. And he stood alone and spoke his case. And when it came time to vote, everybody in that General Assembly voted, in the House voted for that bill, except for who? Dion, because he had the courage of his convictions, okay? So now, moving forward. Last year, in a special election to fill the seat vacated by Senator Marlon Kimpson, Dion Tedder became the youngest senator and the youngest black senator in South Carolina's history. In his campaign, he told his potential supporters, "I'm running," and I quote, "to represent the people of Senate District 42. The Low Country needs an advocate on important issues like public education, affordable housing, and criminal justice reform. That is what I have been fighting for in the House, and it is what I will continue to fight for if elected to the Senate." And since assuming office in the Senate just 6 months ago, he's been doing just that, okay? Since his election, Senator Tedder has been instrumental in ensuring that the poorest children in our state continue to have access to food, in spite of Governor McMaster's willful rejection of federal aid that would keep our students' summer feeding programs funded. McMaster rejected the federal aid. Dion said, no, I'm going to definitely vote in favor of our kids being fed. Senator Tedder gained bipartisan support for an amendment to the Compassionate Care Act bill aimed at safeguarding small businesses from unnecessary government overreach. Here he is in the legislature, in the Senate, for 6 months now, advocating in order to protect the rights of small businesses. Okay, Ms. Washington, thank you for getting on. I saw that you called me a half hour ago. As soon as I'm finished with this, I'll give you a call back, okay? All right? I just ran out of time, and my phone was off, my ringer was off, okay? Now, also, not only protecting small business, through constructive dialogue, look at this, he's consistently working along with Republicans. In the House, he had to work along with Republicans to get the HBCU bill passed, okay? And he's continuing in the Senate to work along with Republicans also. Through constructive dialogue and engagement with Republican senators, he successfully advocated for an amendment to the permitless carry bill that will prevent racial profiling. As an attorney, when he read through the bill, he said there's a problem here. There's a problem in this bill that's going to allow for racial profiling, and I'm not getting ready to let that happen. So he wrote an amendment that went through that protected our black community in this permitless carry scenario that has passed through our General Assembly, has protected our African American legal gun owners from racial profiling. Now, whether that translates over into the civilian community or not, that has to be seen. But the other part is, if we have law enforcement that actually racially profiles somebody because they're a black person, because they're openly carrying, now we have law in our General Assembly that's going to hold law enforcement accountable for that racial profiling. All right, all right. Now, I said during his 2 years in his freshman year, right, in the South Carolina House of Representatives, which is extremely difficult doing, he got a bill passed. Okay, I think he actually got 2 bills passed, but a bill passed. In the 6 months that he's been in the Senate, he's gotten 2 bills passed. One bill mandates that school districts must now do 3 things regarding expulsion hearings. When they want to put a child out of school, there are 3 things that the school districts must do before they can do that, okay? 1, they must give written notice to the parents about any expulsion hearings that their child might be subjected to. 2, they must be informed of their right to have an attorney present for these hearings. And 3, the district must provide the parent with the investigative file that's being used against their child. All of this to ensure parents and students are no longer being railroaded through these hearings. And guess who gets railroaded more than anybody in the school system? Black, brown, and poor children. Yep. So he got this bill passed in the last 6 months, along with a second bill that he got passed that allows those who have pending charges for unlawfully carrying a firearm to have those charges dismissed, right? In their rush to pass this permitless carry legislation, South Carolina's Republican legislators didn't realize that there were certain unintended consequences that could result in the arrest of lawful gun owners, especially black lawful gun owners, who are more prone to be stopped by the police. So Senator Tedder's bill, literally, it reversed the wrongs that happened to these legal gun owners who just didn't understand the law, and they can actually have that record that it was written dismissed because of this loophole. Tell me it don't pay to at least have some kind of legal understanding of what's going on if you're going to represent people. So now, to wrap up this portion, this intro portion right here, let me run through some of the other accomplishments 34-year-old South Carolina State Senator Dem Tedder has done in the short 6 months since he's been representing Senate District 42. Senator Tedder sponsored a bill amending South Carolina's laws to prohibit the stop and search of people based solely on the scent of marijuana. We understand that. 5-0 pull you over, right? First thing they're going to say to a brother or brothers in the car, I smell weed. They in a car a block behind you with their windows up. You in the car with the windows, and then they roll up on you after stopping you. And they tell you, I stopped you because I smell weed. Senator Tedder sponsored a bill amending that to stop that foolishness, okay? He has another bill on the Senate floor that would deter reckless gun violence and create penalties for drive-by shootings and for people who randomly shoot into crowds, even when no one's hit. See, he's doing things. He's putting things on the table that are going to benefit us as a community, all righty? There's no bill on the, in South Carolina. There's no law in South Carolina that really will hold these people accountable. But this bill would deter reckless gun violence and create penalties for drive-by shootings and for people who randomly shoot into crowds, okay, even when no one's hit. He filed legislation to criminalize swatting, what's called swatting. That's a form of harassment where fake calls are made to the police or an emergency service, sending them off on a bogus emergency run to a particular address. This has become increasingly common in targeting and harassing members of the Jewish community. See, Senator Tedder is not a representative for any one individual group. He's listening to everybody. He's listening to the problems that the Jewish community has also, and moving to make some changes in that. Senator Tedder sponsored the Keep Students in School Act to review the juvenile justice law, a proposal that includes increased funding for public schools, teacher pay raises, expanded access to early childhood education, partnerships with corporations to bring back trades in the schools, and policies to reduce the burden of student loan debt. And he sponsored the South Carolina's Inclusionary Housing Act to increase the availability of affordable and attainable low-income housing, and to increase economic mobility for all residents, emphasizing one, workforce development in order to ensure that Charleston residents are equipped with the necessary skills for future employment by investing in education and training programs and providing help with job placement. Two, support, including state funding for small businesses, including women and minority-owned businesses in Charleston and North Charleston. The union peer development, addressing the racial wealth gap, and raising the minimum wage. And he's done all of this in 6 months as a senator. Just think what he can accomplish in 4 more years. All righty. So now, as it's 8:26, let me shift to the topic for tonight. The negative. Wait one. All right, sometimes I move ahead of myself. All righty. Okay. Yep. Let me shift right here, okay, to the topic for tonight. The negative, dirty campaign that Senator Tedder's opponent and her team have waged over the last few months. Actually, it's only been less than 3 months, okay, that they've been at this. Under the leadership of campaign manager Quadjo Campbell, and with who I believe to be Senator Robert Ford and Representative Wendell Gilliard pulling strings in the background. Oh, and let me not forget, with the approval of South Carolina Senate candidate and Senator Deon Tedder's Democratic opponent in the primary election tomorrow, candidate Kim Green, with her approval. As the title of this live suggests, Dem Boiz R Durty. It's not just Dem Boiz, it's the female candidate. And I wish I could separate her from it. And the dirty started in this campaign less than 3 months ago when Kim Green filed to run for the South Carolina Senate District 42 seat. On March 18th, and I'm getting ready to take you down a road here that for me, it really ticks me off that people will even do these things, that they bring this trash into campaigns, okay? Truth, I can roll with. Trash, I can't deal with, okay? Beginning with the day that she filed to run for the seat. On March 18, 2024, 84 days ago, and the day she filed as a candidate to run in the South Carolina Senate District 42 race, in a statement that she gave to ABC News 4, Ms. Green said these words. She said, "I am running to serve the people of District 42 and will always put their needs first." I really wish that was a hard stop right there. But instead of that, she continued on. She says, "My opponent comes from the long tradition of people who use power to serve themselves, even at the expense of the community." I don't even know where that came from in her opening statement, but it did, okay? Then she said, "Living wage jobs, true affordable housing, and making our community safe will be my only focus because I answer to you." And then she added on there, "Not the real estate developers, lobbyists, or Columbia power brokers." In other words, she's insinuating, first off, she made an accusation saying that her opponent, which is Senator Deon Tedder, her opponent comes from a tradition of people who are using their power to serve themselves, even at the expense of the community. I've never seen any of that in Deon Tedder. Never. Okay. As a House representative or as a senator. Okay. And then she says that she will answer to the people, and then by insinuating not the real estate developers, lobbyists, or Columbia power brokers, insinuating that this is who Senator Tedder answers to. Okay. Now, I don't know if y'all heard it. I heard that. When I read that, that's what I heard. That's what I hear. Now, sometimes these old ears don't hear too good. Stunner, what's going on? Gina, what's happening? How you doing? Look, good to see you. Good to see you. Sometimes these ears don't work right. But I think I heard her correctly when she said that, Dion's a gold digger, and that's why he's in that spot. And he has to answer to real estate developers, lobbyists, and Columbia power brokers. I think that's what I read in it, and that's what I think it says, okay? And when asked for the proof of these allegations, I even asked for the proof, okay? Ms. Green has yet to produce anything. Nothing at all. 80 some odd days later, she has never produced a shred of evidence to support that. She just said it. And there's people out here that's believing that and repeating that. Are we that gullible? But you know what's funny, though? Is that these are the same accusations used by Wendell Gilliard last year, him and his team, Quadjo Campbell, and the henchman, Demond McElveen. These are the same accusations used by Gilliard last year as one of the candidates in the special election for Senate District 42 that Dion Tedder won, okay? My friends, that's not a coincidence that she's using these things again this year, because that's from her team, okay? And if that wasn't bad enough, at the close of last year's special election, the day after Senator Tedder won that actual seat, all of a sudden up pops an article on the right-wing media outlet Fitz News about Dion Tedder and a purported rape case from April of 2022. Some of you all might have seen that the media was reporting on this alleged case over the last few days. All righty. That it's alleged that in April of 22, Senator Tedder, then Representative Tedder, was involved in a rape case. Okay, allegations. So before I go any further, let me share with you my thoughts and my stand on this alleged rape. Okay, first, if this happened, let me just be perfectly clear about this. If this happened, and I emphasize if, my heart goes out to the woman that was involved in this. Okay, if it happened, there is never and will never be a justification for rape. Let me just say that, okay? But as of right now, this is all an unproven allegation. The same as Ms. Green, when she made those statements on March 18th, never produced any evidence about it. And as of right now, this is an unproven allegation. So here's what my logical mind is saying about this alleged rape. Okay, let me just tell you from my perspective, okay? And I'm not a legal mind or a legal genius or anything like that. I'm just Pastor Dixon, just a plain old ordinary guy that kind of looks at things the way that things are, without speculation and just the way it's cut, okay? Now, let's be clear, okay? Allegedly, this rape happened in April of 2022. That's over 2 years ago, okay? And in this over 2 years, no charges have been filed, no arrest has been made, and it's over. Cheryl, that's not the whole report. All right, thank you. All righty. And it's been over 2 years. That's a portion of it, okay? And I'm not here to read the whole report. What I'm here to do is to get you, and I wish that you would be listening as opposed to typing, because you might see the reasoning why I have to say what I have to say tonight. So, no charges have been filed and no arrests have been made, and it's been over 2 years. Now, the Republican Attorney General, Alan Wilson, he's the one investigating this. I say it again. The Republican Alan Wilson, Attorney General, he's the one that's investigating this. Dion Tedder is a Democratic senator, okay? If there was any evidence to charge Dion Tedder, don't you think this MAGA Republican would have moved long ago? It's been over 2 years. Over 2 years. Yeah, you're incorrect on that, Cheryl. Over 2 years. And I know myself, okay, I had a life before this life that you know right now. And I know that anytime I did some dirt, as soon as the solicitors found evidence of what I did, they came and got me. There wasn't no delays or nothing like that. And I've heard people saying that, well, it's because of Dion's strings that he pulls in Colombia, blase, this, that, and the other. You got to take into consideration that the person who is in charge of this case is a Republican, a MAGA Republican. He would not delay at all if it was evidence enough to convict this Democratic senator right now, okay? I want to make that perfectly clear. The media reports that they got a tip 2 days ago, okay? One of the news outlets said we got a tip 2 days ago, okay? As I've said, this information first surfaced after Gilliard lost the special election last year. In my opinion, this leaked info last year and the tip 4 days ago, 4 days before the primary, that's Wendell Gilliard, Senator Robert Ford, Quadjo Campbell, and their henchman, Damon McElveen, a.k.a. Omar Fall. That's all that is, okay? Trying to discredit Dion Tedder 4 days before the election so people will vote for Kim Green because Kim Green is not going to win this election. And they desperate, okay? Of course, they will use anything they can to give their candidate, Kim Green, an edge because they know she can't beat Dion. I'm also fully convinced that they talked her into running because Gilliard couldn't risk losing to Dion again. Now, that's my opinion right there, okay? That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it, all righty? Now, here's the kicker on this, okay, as people are steadily yapping, okay? No matter what, Senator Tedder is, at this present moment, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. All this speculation or whatever, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Let me say this. And I use these words to respond to somebody on social media earlier today that made me easier to clarify this right here. Deidre, what's going on? Renee, what's going on? Thank you for joining in. Okay. Let me say this. I believe in America. I want you to understand that. I believe in America. And I believe in the part of America that says a person, any person, is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I believe that. Until proven guilty in America, everyone is entitled to the presumption of innocence, not guilt first. We're not guilty until proven innocent. We're innocent until proven guilty in America. The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution guarantees that no one will be, and I quote, deprived of life, property, or liberty without following the due process of law. And for anyone to decide Senator Tedder's guilt without following the due process of law is a breach of our Constitution and at best nothing more than an emotional knee-jerk reaction. Oh, it's kind of cool to think he did this or something like that, or spread gossip, or how those rumors get started. They're started by those jealous people. The Constitution says that he is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Just that simple. So to sit here for anybody and take an allegation that's been unproven in a court of law, you're wrong. You're wrong. Size that man up as he is right now based on the facts. And the fact says nothing has been proven to say that he is guilty of these allegations. So that makes him, in America, in my America, it makes him innocent. And according to the law, it makes him innocent, okay? Over 2 years without charges being brought by the Republican Attorney General, it might mean that there's either no evidence or not enough evidence to convict. I don't know. But it's been 2 years. If that Republican Attorney General would have had evidence of guilt, you can believe he would have drugged this Democratic senator through the mud a long time ago. And it would have been plastered all over. And without a conviction, let me make this perfectly clear. Without a conviction, guilt cannot be assumed no matter what we want to believe. And that's a fact, Jack. And of course, I said it before. I'm not a legal scholar. So that's just my opinion also. Okay. But most, though, unfortunately, and let's just be clear about this, because I know people. They messy. Yep. Tell them the pastor said people messy. And I say the same thing from the pulpit. People messy. Most will respond to these allegations as if he's guilty. Unfortunately, because they don't stop to think that our nation is built on a law that says that you're not guilty until you're proven guilty. But most will respond as if he's guilty, which is exactly what Gilliard and Ford and Campbell and McElveen and Green want, especially 4 days before the election. So people will say it in their mind, he's guilty of this charge and carrying on. I can't vote for him. That's what they're trying to do. It's real simple. Simple logic. This is a classic case of dirty politics, and very much the kind of behavior I've seen from the people named above in the past, except for Miss Green, okay? And it's sad that she's allowed herself to be drugged down into the snake pit with the rest of these snakes. It's really sad. Wow. So do you really want to know how dirty this whole thing is? Now, I get an explanation, okay? How dirty it is, okay? Let's see. I'm not going to show this or share this on my page because I don't want this trash around. But there was this flyer right here, okay? News Watch, okay? And it says Senator Tedder's picture right there. And forcible rape allegations for Senator Tedder owes us an answer. And then at the bottom it has a QR code that goes to the original news story from Fit News, which was from November 8th of last year, okay? Now, let me just tell you how scandalous this is now. And when I say scandalous, I mean scandalous. These flyers, what I just showed you, this right here, Kim Green's people took them flyers and placed them on the windshield of cars that were parked outside of churches like Royal and Mount Moriah during Sunday service, so that the people inside the church came out and found these things on their windshield. Them boys, they're dirty. And they dirty. While the people in church, they come out and they find this trash on their windshield. Okay? Hoping that the mind will not read about the word allegations in there, and that they'll go to this QR code that's on there, that goes to this Fit News thing, okay? And as I mentioned, the henchman, right? Omar Fall, Demond McElveen, okay? Demond he's actually a Trump supporter, okay? But he likes to make posts on his Facebook page that support these lies, okay, that support them. I got a screenshot of one of them right here. This is a screenshot. You see the name up here, Omar Fall, okay? And let me read it. It says, who still supports Deion Tedder for senator even though he raped a woman? Who are his donors that condone rape? How did he move from an allegation to this actually happen? This came off of his page, okay? And that's not all. Because he likes to make these videos, right? Videos that he, will erase, not long after. But a couple of them are still up there right now. One of which he repeatedly says that Deion raped this woman. Repeatedly that Deion raped. And he says, I know that he raped her. And personally, I hope that, especially as the attorney, that Deion seeks to litigate him, seriously, because he's basically telling the people who follow him, which is not really a big following, that something happened that never happened, or that has not been proven. Let me just say, it has not been proven as of yet. Okay. That's insane. And Kim Green herself, okay? She made this post a couple of days ago, I think, on her own campaign page, maybe yesterday or the day before yesterday, okay? This one right here, okay? This one right here. This from Kim Green's own Facebook page. And you see on there are two QR codes, right? 1 and 2, okay? Those QR codes, one of which connects to that same November 8th, 2023 Fitz News post, and the other, it connects to a Live 5 news article from June of last year, okay? The June of last year post, because one of the things that they say about Dion is that, and it says it right here, let me see, where is it at? In her other post. I don't know where it's at, but I know it's somewhere, okay? That he gets rapists off on their charges as an attorney, okay? And she used that link to the June article in order to, I guess, to support her accusation, I guess, okay? But the reality is, Deon Tedder, first off, he's an attorney, okay? He represents people. Attorneys, sometimes they don't represent the best of people, and sometimes they don't represent the worst of people, sometimes. But they do represent people, because that's another right in America, to be represented by legal counsel, okay? So this case was involving someone who had been charged with counts of rape. And ultimately, he did not get a stiff sentence, okay? But guess who handed down the sentence? It wasn't Deon Tedder. He didn't negotiate with the judge or anything like that about the sentence. The judge handed down the sentence. And the news article from Live 5, if you scan that QR code, the news article says, and I quote, "The judge who suspended Hayes' sentence and gave him time served pointed to his military service, his not having any prior arrests, and that he worked very hard in treatment to make sure that this doesn't happen again." The judge took all of those things into consideration and decided to give this man a suspended sentence. And Deon didn't have anything to do with the judge's decision at all. But Kim Green and her team want you to believe that he gets rapists off. The judge gave him that sentence. Okay? And what they're trying to do is to tie that into some alleged behavior with Deon that there's really no connection to. And there's definitely no criminal charges filed and no court proof or whatever that this ever happened, okay? Now the other code, right, is two QR codes on her post. Two of them. What did I do with the paper? All right, it's right there. Oh, not that one. So there are two QR codes on her post right there. Okay, one of them, as I said, was from the Live 5 news report, and the other one is from that Fitz News report from November 8th, 2023, the day after the election where Gilliard lost the election, okay? The news article was by this man who runs Fit News. His name is Will Folks. Will Folks is an avowed right-wing racist who has a news service. And it's amazing how he's the one who released this information. And now Kim Green has this connected to her page now. Okay. Will Folks, the right-wing racist, okay? He's the one, and Fitz News is the one who posted that article about Matt Lieber talking about me that was filled with lies. That I have people harassing folks in the parking lot at the Charleston County School District and keying their cars and That's Fit News. This is what this dude, Will Folks and Fitz News, the Republican Will Folks, that's what he does. These are the people that Fit News and Will Folks, these are the people that certain black folks run to when they're trying to discredit other black folks, okay? They run to the racists to amplify their negative allegations, unfounded allegations against their own people, because they know the racists are always looking for juicy gossip about Democrats, whether it's true or not. And that's who they go to. Case in point, Will Folks and Fitz News, that's the same media outlet that Representative Justin Bamberg ran to as soon as the leaked audio on Crystal Matthew was released 2 years ago. The recording that she had done with an inmate in the Department of Corrections here, as soon as that audio came out, because Justin Bamberg was butthurt because Crystal Matthews had talked about him a little bit, called him out. So he goes running where? To Will Folks and Fitz News with this, and put this out. And guess what they did? They put it out. He ran to Fitz News and Will Folks first to get the word out, just like Quadjo Campbell and Gilliard did with Dion last year. And it still didn't help Gilliard win, okay, at all. He still lost. And now here you got Kim Green putting this QR code attached to that same article on her Facebook page, on her campaign page. Crabism. That's all it is. Run to the racist white folks in order to amplify what you're saying, this negativity that you're saying about another black person. Crabism. That's all it is. Yep. Definitely dirty politics. Them boys are dirty. They dirty. You can believe that. So, here's something that's a little anecdotal, I guess I could say. I was speaking with some of my friends yesterday who just happen to be white, who live in Senate District 42, but were not aware of these allegations, okay? So no matter what's happening out there as far as the news putting this stuff out, it's a whole bunch of people out here in District 42 who don't have a clue about none of this, because they don't watch the news or nothing like that. And they just know who they're going to vote for, all righty? But when I talked to them about it, their responses were pretty plain. First off, they said they hate dirty politics. That was the first thing. We hate we hate this. This is not the politics that we want. We hate this. Then they asked the question, well, what has Dion's opponent done to stop these dirty politics? Absolutely nothing. She's a part of the problem. She's tied into it. Something in her mind makes her think that this is how political campaigns are supposed to be run. Possibly listening to Gilliard and Quadjo Campbell and Senator Ford, people who have been in politics for a long time. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be doing a whole live on Quadjo Campbell real soon. Real soon. It's about time for what I know for everybody to know, okay? It's about that time. I'm really tired of him coming down here from Greenville, interfering in the political process, especially if he's not coming with honesty and integrity to interfere, okay, period. As long as anybody give him a check. As a matter of fact, I think after Gilliard's lost last year, I can't prove it or nothing like that. I think he actually, said that, told Dion, well, I'll campaign for you. Just pay me. That's all. I'm going to figure it out, though. I'm going to find it out, okay? So they say, what has his opponent done to stop this dirty politics? Absolutely nothing. She's part of the problem now. Maybe an unwitting part, but she's been programmed to act this way. And then they also said this, okay? They said this, something that I posted on the flyer, which is very true. Said, this is exactly why many people have decided not to vote anymore. This kind of politics is running people away from participating in the political process. Because you've got shiesty people out here, grimy people out here, who are more concerned with advancing their own power structure and holding on to their own power structure if they can, than they are about running races honestly and getting elected and honestly serving the people instead of serving themselves, okay? And my friends, this represents a major problem that I would hope that our South Carolina Democratic Party and the Charleston County Democratic Party leadership would address. If they're listening to this or they see this at any point, I would hope that they would address this problem. But to be perfectly honest with you, I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I don't think they have the guts to say anything. None of them. The state party, the county party, none of them. I don't believe they have the guts to say anything about this. To Gilliard, to Ford, to Quadjo, none of them. Well, I do know that the Greenville Dems, they had enough guts to kick Quadjo out of a leadership position there. I'm going to touch on that in that live when I talk about Quadjo, okay? Y'all stay tuned, okay? And as far as the candidate is concerned, here's a message from me, Pastor Dixon, to candidate Green, who should be very careful about those that she allies herself with. Miss Green, when you can't win an election based on your own merits, you really shouldn't be in politics anyway. You are running to be a representative for the people. And if your campaign is filled with unscrupulous campaign tactics and bad-mouthing your opponent instead of showing your potential constituents and those whose vote you are seeking just how you will benefit their lives if elected, you don't deserve their vote, period. And it's really demeaning to the people for a politician to think that the people whose vote they are seeking would be satisfied with someone whose focus is tearing down instead of building up and stepping on the next person in order to get to the top. The proverbial crabs in a barrel syndrome that has been killing us politically, spiritually, and emotionally as a community for decades. Miss Green, I have news for you and for any other politician, campaign manager, or campaign do-boy who thinks this kind of attitude, behavior, and these grimy tactics are okay with our community. They are not. And I want you to know that we, the black community in particular, we aren't that shallow. And we definitely aren't stupid. The people deserve better from those who are asking them for their vote. And we as a community should be fed up with and not tolerate anyone who thinks that this kind of behavior, these kind of politics by politics, is acceptable. It is not, and they are not. So, to my friends who have lasted through this, who have stayed through this, if you live in South Carolina Senate District 42, I'm asking you to go to the polls tomorrow and vote for Dion Tedder, the only candidate in the Senate District 42 primary election who has earned your vote without dirt and without a doubt. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow. And if you're unsure if you're supposed to be voting, go to the website scvotes.gov, answer about 5 identification questions, and all of your information will pop up. Okay? 8:59. So in closing, okay, for Mrs. Green's team, let me just say this and say it quickly. Y'all need to get some business, okay? Y'all have got entirely too much time on your hands. In South Carolina, Ellen Weaver wants to kill African American studies in South Carolina schools. Why don't y'all join us in that fight? We had another black man gunned down on the east side in Charleston today at 11 o'clock this morning. Why aren't y'all standing up for gun violence prevention? We got white supremacists in the upstate calling for black activists to be shot on sight, decapitated, and disemboweled. But you ain't got nothing to say about that. And young girls and women are disappearing off of our streets at an alarming rate, more than I can ever recall. And here we have a state representative, a former state senator, an activist turned politician turned campaign manager, a henchman who will say anything as long as he's getting paid, and a neophyte political candidate who has been taught the same politics that has kept our community from prospering for decades, all of whom are more focused on dirty politics than they are on honestly winning an election based on what they can do for the community. And that, my friends, is truly very sad. So with that being said, Denise, thank you. Joe, thank you. Roy, good to see you. Okay, yeah, I'm talking about your Bubba. With that being said, I'm going to call it a night. It's been just over an hour. Thank you all so much for staying with me. And in closing, as I usually do, let me just remind everybody, love is the key. Love and respect is the key. We can win elections without being dirty, without going low, okay? By telling the truth about each other. But when you don't have any good truth to tell, that's why people go low, okay? And we don't need politicians like that. We've had enough of those. That's why our community is hurting right now. We've had people who are in office for a very long time who abandoned doing for our community a very long time ago. One of these lives, I'm going to talk about the 6th Congressional District Congressman. And I'm going to give you the 411 on what I think about him, okay? Just uncut and raw. Because that's what I do, and I've just been around here long enough to have seen factual information, which I'm talking about tonight, factual information. So go out tomorrow, if you live in District number 42, Senate District 42, and vote for Deon Tedder. We need him to have 4 more years. I talked about his accomplishments already. We need him to have 4 more years in that seat. God only knows the good that he can do returning back to that seat. Okay. As far as the case, our law enforcement, they will take care of that. And in the end, it'll be one thing or another, either guilty or innocent. Okay. And we deal with it from that point. But as of right now, that man's innocent of any charge, okay? Because he ain't been charged at all in over 2 years. So please, let's get back to loving ourselves and loving our community, and let us love to that point where we don't allow politics to invade our communities and to rob us from the prosperity and the truth and the vision that we can have, especially a truth and a vision for our children. And when we have politricks who are more concerned about their own personal power and their need for greed, then we'll never, ever be able to succeed as a community. And that's why in many cases we see our communities in the condition that they're in right now, because we've had too many people that we've put in power thinking that they were going to do right by us, and they got in those offices and did nothing for the people while constantly enriching themselves. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them. Kiss them babies and hug them babies tonight. And I'm going to be talking to you again real soon. Let's get up and go out and vote tomorrow. Y'all take care. God bless. I love you.